If you are a dad in 2025, there is a mind tool that you absolutely need, and they didn't teach you this in school. And it is to separate the facts from the flavor. One of my favorite movies, Big Fish, this concept is brought up. You may recall the grandfather is known for telling tall tales, and he asks his daughter-in-law if she's heard the story about thus and so, and she blushes and says, yes, your son did mention that before. And the grandfather kind of grins mischievously and said, well, yes, but he would have only told you the facts and left out all the flavor. And in life, this is what we have. We have things that are actually happening. Your kids are going through certain things in their progression in life. You, in your progression as an individual, as a father, as a husband, you have external things going on around you. They are circumstances. And circumstances such as my cell phone bill is X amount of dollars, or we need to go buy ingredients for lasagna. Those are all facts. They're really indisputable. My kid just had surgery on his knee. Indisputable fact. It can be proven in a court of law. You've got the receipts, you got the scar stitched up on the leg to prove it. It's a fact. But the flavor is the story we attach to the circumstances. The story that we attach to our kid having surgery. And you're not doing anything wrong if the story you're telling yourself about the situation is a painful one. There are painful things about that situation. That surgery probably impacted your kid in many ways and you in other ways. There's nothing wrong as far as how you feel about it, but it is the flavor. And the flavor comes from the story in your mind. The story are the thoughts that you are telling yourself about this circumstance in your life. What they don't teach us in school is that circumstances are not responsible for how we feel. Our thoughts create our feelings. In between that fact, in between that surgery and the feeling you have, is a thought you have told yourself about that situation. And I will illustrate this with a different example that perhaps you've experienced before. I was in church with my family, trying to be a good boy and be quiet and listen. And what I heard next to me was a lot of candy wrapper crackling. Oh yes, I was not pleased. It seemed like it was loud enough to break glass. That's the way I was interpreting it at the time. And I was so irritated that my kids were opening candy wrappers that I'm pretty sure they got from their mom. And I was just mad at all of them. And I was to the point where I was ready to get up and walk out of the room. And then I said to myself, you know, Bryce, you do actually know better than this. You are aware of the fact that your thoughts about the fact your kids are opening candy wrappers right now are actually causing the flavor of this situation. They are causing the emotion. So I thought, okay, let's try a different thought about this. Instead of they are distracting the entire room, they are being disrespectful, how dare they? How are they opening these candy wrappers? With their fingers. I looked over and I saw their fingers making those delicate movements, and they were able to open the candy wrappers because their hands were fully functioning. And I realized what a miracle it was, all the orchestration of the human body and mind to be able to produce this ability, the dexterity in their fingers to accomplish this. And I immediately was blown away at how amazing that was. And the noise of the candy wrappers all of a sudden became music to my ears. I'm not joking. This is what I experienced. This is the different flavor of that moment that I experienced when I changed how I thought about what was going on. And then no sooner did I feel the amazing feeling about this, the candy wrapper opening sounds, they stopped. And I wished it would start again, because I was feeling such a great emotion and flavor of how I was thinking about that. So, whether you're a new dad, a fairly seasoned dad, or a very senior dad, and your kids are all grown, you have grandkids now, what you need to know right now, it has always been the case, and this is a reminder perhaps for many, there is a difference between the facts and the flavor. And while we cannot always control the circumstances in our lives, we are absolutely producing the flavor. It's not right or wrong, the flavor that we're having, but we are producing it with our thoughts. Reflect on this. Reflect on this. I honestly view my life in terms of before I knew this and really thought about it and realized the truth of it, and after. And I've been much more aware of the flavor experience of my life ever since I learned how to separate the facts from the flavor. And that's it for now.